But still, guys, the real story is coming. What do we have for professional boxers in today's world? Which is why, guys, I'm going to take you viewers down memory lane. But keep this in mind, it's not going to be a good memory to think of unless if you're into this stuff. So keep that in mind. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the top 25 boxers that are in the bare knuckle as of right now. So in first place, we have an 8-0 fighter from Cuba named Leonardo Perdomo from Cuba. He has 8 professional wins, and he just goes from all by first round knockout. He's just that dangerous. And as of right now, on September the 12th, which is about some time later until next month, he's going to take on former champion Arnold Adams. So Arnold Adams, a guy born in Alaska, Fairbanks, Alaska, which is, guys, how many times have you ever seen a championship in Alaska before? Well, this guy went over and out of nowhere he left Alaska, and around this time he lived in California in Santa Monica, and surprisingly almost into his mid 30s, can't get nothing done. He becomes the inaugural champion in bare knuckle boxing. How did he do it? We're going to get to that moment later in another episode, because we already talked about the first episode of bare knuckle boxing #1. So can there be anything else about that? Well, technically he's ranked number 26, not in the top 25, but with a 7 wins and 4 losses in his resume, and technically his last 3 fights are losses against great fighters. Yeah. But technically, guys, the real story does come differently than you expected. So, technically, um, with everything going on, and considering this show is going to take place on the bare knuckle fighting of David Fettleman, which is going to be BKFC 80, which is going to be interesting. Technically, we do have to take care of other fighters. We do have a Polish fighter that's 8-2 named Balboa, his alias name from Poland. His last name is Domalik, but technically they'll just call him Balboa. He has 8 wins, 2 losses, and all of those fights are knockouts. He has some knockouts in seconds and fifth, and he's lost against some interesting fighters. And there was one interesting fighter that has 9 professional fights, and he is a former bare knuckle fighter that hasn't fought in over a year, and his name is Mateusz Kubasuzyn, for some reason, known as Don Diego from Poland as well. This guy's already has been boxing from the name of his last event in December was called Gromda, Gromda 19, which is another interesting professional bare knuckle event in Poland. But I don't know who the promoter is, so whoever knows about these events, let me know in the comments and who's running it, because I'm curious to know. He's rated number 2 in the rankings. But then you can watch out, guys, because we do have a number 3 ranked fighter named Gustavo Trujillo, a 7-0 fighter, also all by knockouts in the craziness first round, and he's been promoted by Mike Vasquez. And he's one of the other promoters in America as we speak. David Feldman and Mike Vasquez are just doing their own promotion, though. So if you're going to say that they're going to do an interpromotional contest against their own fighters, have Gustavo take on, which this guy's also a born Cuban fighter living in Miami, Florida, taking on Leonardo Perdomo. Guess again, because they're just going to remain undefeated in their own rankings. They can't fight each other in their own promotion unless if they're going to sign themselves to the other company, which that would be crazy. So he's rated number 3, and there's another Polish fighter named Jacob Slomka. He's a 6-0 fighter, 6 knockouts, and a lot of them were by second round, third round, fourth round knockouts twice, fifth round by 1 and 1 first round knockout. So his knockouts are all over the place, which I think he's just a patient fighter waiting to go for a knockout. And all of his fights are in Poland as well. And he also fight in the same exact event that I talked about another fighter. So yeah, technically, we're just going to talk about the top 10 fighters for now. We have another guy, 39 years old, known as Corey Willis. And he's from Montana, Billings, Montana. He's 39 years old, 2 wins, 2 knockouts. His first fight was in November. His second fight took place in August. And well, his fights came in his first professional fight. He took on a 1-0 fighter. Not a lot of these fighters are there. A lot of these fighters are in their debuts, and some of them barely have 1 or 2 fights. And so his second fight was against a 5-3 fighter. So I guess it makes sense for him to be ranked higher. But like I said, a lot of these fighters are in their 30s and in their early 40s. Like number 6 ranked fighter is Ben Rothwell. He has 4 wins, undefeated, 3 first round knockouts, and a 1 third round ring retirement knockout. He was a BKFC champion around January this year, and at this moment, he defeated Mick Terrell to become champion. And Mick Terrell is ranked number 7 in the world, and he's from Britain. And he is an interesting fighter as well that's lost against Arnold Adams, but won in a rematch against him in December a couple years ago in 2023. So technically, he was a former champion as well. And also, guys, let's talk about ranked number 8 boxer, our good old buddy, Kamil Sokolowski, the guy that's known for defeating one of Daniel Dubois' team member buddies or so that used to work with Don Charles, named George Fox. The guy that argued with Alexander Usyk after they both promised, after the fight's over, they promised to go into the Tower of Paris to have a fight. Yeah, that same guy. Yeah. George Fox was an 4-0 undefeated fighter until December of 2021. He fought against Kamil Sokolowski, a guy with a lousy record of 10 wins, 23 losses, and 2 draws. And this Polish fighter defeated him. And George Fox never fought again, and he would never be back in the spotlight again until 2025, until arguing with Alexander Usyk about that body shot in the first fight. Yeah. So, how's Kamil Sokolowski doing in bare knuckle boxing? Well, guys, here's the thing. Since he retired in April of 2023, I guess maybe 2023, because his last fight does say on April 22nd against a 6-1-1 fighter. But technically, guys, his final record is 11 wins, 28 losses, and 3 draws. Which is not bad considering some of the fights that he has fought were legit opponents. He just wasn't, I think he was just taken too seriously in boxing. He's 39 years old, but then in January last year ago, he fought in his debut in 2024. He won. And then May the 4th, he fought again, and that same year, and scored another first-round knockout in the same venue in Indigo at the 202 Greenwich. And then in November the 9th, he fought against a 3-1 fighter, brought him down twice in the first round and won. And that promotion was Mike Vasquez, which is crazy because that guy was just was in America, which is crazy, but yeah, he's in British. I think that's actually a British event they were doing at the time, but But then, ladies and gentlemen, but now, as of right now, after not fighting for a good amount of 9 months, he is going to box next month on September the 6th, and he is going to fight under the name of Mike Vasquez, who is also known as the BYB Extreme of bare knuckle boxing. And Kamil Sokolowski will be taking on George Taylor, a 2-1 fighter. Is the guy any good? We'll see about that until that time comes. Also, it says here that Kamil Sokolowski was suspended by Polish Boxing Union indefinitely, so if anyone has answers about that, well, good luck for me finding that. But still, even though Kamil Sokolowski is getting a second break in life, which I wish him best of luck because he sure needs it, but yet again, he does deserve to get a little bit more credit for him being in the bare knuckle boxing, because a guy that used to be a professional boxer now fighting in bare knuckle is ridiculous. 1 second. Get off of there. Just a second. Sorry about that. But anyway, guys, let's look at number 9. Number 9 ranked fighter name is Patrick Brady. And this guy's face, guys, the look on this guy's face looks like he's like the guy, like he looks like an old. This guy's facial expression is so wide. I almost wanted to say he was like a little bit of a Huey Lewis, but no, his hair doesn't look like it. I almost thought he was going to be like the janitor Gordy from Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide, the guy that was the voice actor of Timmy Turner's dad and Fairy Odd Parents and other stuff. But this guy's face, this guy does not look like he deserves to be a bare knuckle fighter. This guy boxed in May of last year, took on a 1-3 fighter, second round knockout, and then a first round knockout against a 5-2 fighter in January this year. So, and this guy's 41 years old. He's suspended from the Pennsylvania Athletic Commission indefinitely, so that's really awesome. And now we have a Russian fighter that's named Timur Slashchinin, a 25-year-old guy that's 9-1, and his fights with 6 knockouts, 1 loss by knockout. And that guy he fought against, he won in a rematch against him several months later, and that guy's career is now dead because of it. So, I don't know. Is this his last professional fight was in May of this year? He was in the promoter of Nikolai Klemenko. Huh. Klemenko. I wish I could know who some of these people are. I don't know who some of these people are, but they're part of the bare knuckle division. But how come I haven't heard of these people? Like I wish I can have to know. I wish we can have more information on knowing who these people are, and who they are for the time being. Because it seems like a lot of these people I barely don't know, but it just seems this seems like there's too much information for me to look at right now. So let's look at ranked number 11 fighter Aggie Faulkner. He's ranked number 11. He's from British. He's the number 2 British fighter. He scored out first round knockout in 2022, another win in 2023, and another win in November of 2024 this year by second round knockout. So that's his first non-first round knockout against fighters that are 0-2, 2-3, 4-1, and all of these 3 fights took place in November, 1 year apart from themselves. So that's ridiculous. So I don't understand why this guy would actually go the distance like that. I just don't see that. So that's a ridiculous purse. Whoa. Okay, so we have an Australian fighter named Hayes Heppy, and this guy has tattoos like he is a... Wow. Hayes the Huntsman. Hazley Heppy, this guy is ranked number 12 in bare knuckle boxing with 3 wins. His first fight went by first round knockout in May of last year. Months later, he took on a 2-3 fighter in July by a 5-round points decision. Goes to Italy to fight for a first round knockout win against a 4-2 fighter named Steve Banks in April of this year, under the promoter of David Feldman. So, guys, this guy's face is just... Well, good luck if he becomes champion with that attitude, because that's ridiculous. We have Daniel Podmore, a 8-3 fighter, and he has interesting records of 8-3. He had a no contest in his second fight, but his first fight was a loss, and he just, I don't know. This guy, again, I can't say much about how good his resume is. Like, his last fight was in April of this year, and that promoter he was with, if my computer can cooperate with me right now, give me a second. I think this. Give me a second here. Give me a second. No, that won't work. Okay. Okay, well, BoxRec froze me. Great. Um, can't say much about that anymore. Can't say much about this anymore. Great. Sorry about that. I'm just trying to get that. Okay, here we go. Sorry. Trying to load out something there. Sorry about that. Um, so this was by Mike Vasquez Promotion as he's working with. Dang. So some of these fighters are from BYB Promotion and some were from BKFC Promotion, which is crazy. Interesting. Ranked number 14 fighter is another Russian fighter. Can't pronounce his name as much, but he has 9 wins, 6 knockouts, and his first 7 fights were all against debut fighters. And these fights took place in March of 2020 to November until February of 2022. His next fight was in November against a 1-0 fighter. Great. Scored his points decision in the second time and scored a split decision fight in a 3-round fight in May of 2025. It took him over 2.5 years to come back to boxing to win. So, yeah. What promoter is he with? Nikolai Klemenchuk. Okay. So it seems like we have to know more about who these guys are and such. So I have a couple more Polish fighters ranked number 15 and 16 with 7-3 and 10-5. But Ben Moa, a 2-0 44-year-old guy from Ogden, Utah. Good luck with him. This guy, I hope he gets lucky. His first fight was in December 2023, but his last one was in May this year, and it was also on David Feldman Promotion. So, yeah, I'm trying to find some undefeated fighters here and then. Yeah, some Ryan Barrett, DJ Litterman, Josh Watson from 23, 24th, and 25th. Nothing much about them. Pretty much, and interesting to find out. 2-0 fighter Lex Ludlow, a guy from Pennsylvania, 2-1. He doesn't look much like a heavyweight fighter, and his last fight was in July this year. His first fight was in March, and he's also under the promotion of David Feldman, so that's going to be interesting to know if he gets in the title picture. Isaac Villanueva, 21. Ranked number 20 is Anthony Garrett. He's a 2-0 fighter, and his rating, 3-0 fighter, and his rating went from his debut in August last year, first round knockout, and his other fights against 2-0 in November, and a 4-0 fighter he fought in June this year, all by first round knockout. And of course, that fights and those events took place against David Feldman Promotion. So, yeah, it seems like there's so much interesting ideas here. Different fighters. We have a Ukrainian fighter at number 19. We have someone born in the country of Cape Verde. Cape Verde, is that how his name? Cape Verde. His name is Jorgen D. Castro. A 38-year-old guy that has 1 win in his career, and that was in February this year. His other fight was in June, but of course it was a no contest, which has to be due to eye poking. Also against David Feldman Promotion. Yeah, I really don't know what to say about this. So technically, some of the top 25 boxers in boxing barely have like a couple or 3 or 4 or 5 fights in their career, and some have over 10 fights, but a lot of losses. But yeah, there's some interesting talented boxers here, but a lot of them are late in their prime. A lot of them are in their 30s. A lot of them are in their 40s, and some are in their 30s, and only a few of them are in their 20s. So I really don't know what to say. A bare knuckle boxing should be okay for some people to say that this is good for children to watch this, because I don't think it is. But yeah, again, these sports are violent after all, so I can't say much about that. Oh, look at that. I just realized. I just went over time again. I just went past 40 minutes of this podcast. Great. Um, I gotta keep forgetting, guys. This isn't a Mr. The Globe podcast. I know it wasn't, but I forgot. I'm over time, ladies and gentlemen. So, I guess that's the end of this podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for recording a little bit of a long episode out of that, or depending on how long these two parts are going to be. But, yep, if you guys enjoy part 2 of this shout gun, then let me know. And with that being said, we'll see you next time. I hope. Next time. See you next time.